Like drawing back to wrestling though, steroid use is huge in that fucking industry,
Is it
dude.
isn't
Well,
illegal
and going
there?
back to injury and steroid, Triple H.
Yeah, Triple H. But look what happened to fucking Chris Benoit because of his steroid use. Fucking
Dude.
Hey,
All right,
hold
let's
on,
let's
hold on,
talk
hold
about
on.
that. All right.
Oh,
D-
all
So
right, Big
so
Sean. I mean,
let
Big
me
I think
Sean.
it's a
let me lay it out,
combination of like
and then
steroid use and CTE.
let me lay it out,
I
and
was gonna
Danny can
say.
alley oop after from this. So apparently there was a lot of emails directed to Chris Benoit from the some kind of mafia before he died, which pretty much leads to the conspiracy theory that he might have not, which is controversial as well. He might have not killed his family, and he might have not committed suicide. It might have been a hit because either he owed money or something, right, Danny? Something like that.
Mhm.
I mean, I just recently heard that. So, I mean, and if they did the hit, they might have made it look like, it was,
It was on
yeah, it
him.
was murder. It was a homicide, suicide,
Murder suicide, yeah.
murder, suicide. And so, but, no, the other thing too that I've heard recently is that it couldn't have been roid rage because his levels of testosterone were at their normal levels, something like that. It
Yeah.
came back in his toxicology.
Huh.
So no, like either if he was doing steroids, he just during that cycle he just wasn't on it.
Hmm.
And so there's no really way of it being roid rage. So the next best
CTE.
thing is it was CTE, and CTE gets to people like crazy. I mean, it's like
Yeah.
schizophrenia.
Yeah. Look at Antonio Brown.
All right, I found
Well, and that,
the bullet points for the Chris Benoit thing. So it says toxicology reports suggested Chris, as well as Nancy and Daniel, had all been sedated. Why would the attacker sedate himself? That's one. I mean, he could have been crazy, right? Two, the press statement released that Daniel Benoit had been killed by the crippler crossface, but it was confirmed that he died of asphyxiation. If information this vital can be sexed up by the media, what else has been changed by the media? The empty
he was
cans.
killed by. He was killed originally. They said that he
Yeah,
It was
was
a
killed
crippler
by that
crossface.
hole.
crippler crossface.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
man.
remember?
That's
I remember when
crazy.
that came out. I was reading about that. I was like, what the fuck? Chris Benoit killed his son with the crippler
That's
crossface.
crazy, bro. That's dark. That's hella dark. Okay, there's another one. There are empty cans of beer next to Benoit's body. Toxicology reports stated he did not consume them. Who did?
Interesting.
Several random texts were sent to several random people after Chris Benoit killed himself. Who sent these texts and why? Kevin Sullivan, Nancy Benoit's ex-husband, a confirmed satanic worshiper, swore he would kill Chris one day. Why was he interrogated? Is this why Bibles were left next to the bodies of those who have died? And the last one was Chavo Guerrero stated that while on the phone with Chris answered the door and heard a scuffle prior to the phone cutting out. Chris rang back 3 hours later, stating everything was okay and that he loved Chavo. What happened in this time? Is this why there's no sign of forced entry? So, sheesh.
Bro, how you mentioned Kevin Sullivan, I never thought of that. I never thought of that.
Was he
That's
Who's Kevin
WCW?
Sullivan?
Yeah. So okay.
Oh
So I'm
shit! I just got
okay.
goosebumps, bro.
So here, Kevin Sullivan was a wrestler in WCW,
Okay.
but he also worked in the back. He did booking. He booked the matches for WCW.
Hmm.
In other words, he was like what they call when they would say the commissioner. He'd set up the matches and stuff.
Uh-huh.
That was Sullivan. And so what happened is there was one storyline where Sullivan, yeah, he's just doing his thing, whatever. But then Sullivan's wife, which is Nancy, started dating Chris Benoit. That's just a story in the wrestling,
Oh,
but it ended up actually happening where she dumped Kevin Sullivan. You know, divorced him. They were married for, I mean, a good while, a few years at least. Dumps him, goes, and then pretty much,
yeah.
starts dating Chris Benoit, and then the rest is history. They get married, have their kid, whatever.
He's probably bitter from
So,
there, huh?
but oh my God, like the promotions that they would do, dude, it would be like if they would make it like if they were both in bed, like after they fucked or whatever, and it'd be Chris Benoit like talking shit to Kevin Sullivan, like it was weird, dude. And
Oh
so
my
now
god.
that you mention this, it's like, what if it is revenge? What if it was revenge? Uh, like, and I didn't know he was a Satanist, a Satan worshiper. And so, damn, that's crazy.
So
And
it's
Bibles
you.
there,
You think
next to them.
did this promo stuff happen before Nancy went over
This
to
was
Chris?
happening this was like during the story of it. So maybe this was even
Oh
during,
shit.
like, when it was like the transition, because the story became reality, in other words.